1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Hello and welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I'm Precious D.
And I'm Honeybee.
Today we are taking a look at them! !
Gasp!
This is our first big bug movie from 1954. That's the same year as Godzilla. Black and white, 94 minutes, directed by Gordon Douglas, starring James Whitmore, James R. Ness, and Edmund Gwenn, and Joan Weldon. James R. Ness would become famous right after this for playing Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke for
Ooh.
decades. This movie kind of got him the job.
Oh, wow.
I read that John Wayne saw it and recommended him.
Hey.
And it got somebody else a job. Fess Parker, who plays the pilot that we see in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Walt Disney had gone to look at James R. Ness for Davy Crockett, but he saw Fess Parker and liked him better.
Oh, isn't that the way it goes?
But that's fine because James R. Ness ended up with the better job in that
Heck yeah.
him working for decades. So, but we've seen this before with Raymond Burr, that somebody starts off their career in one of these monster movies and then right after it goes on to do something that they then play for years. So it's not a bad place to start your career in a monster movie.
Heck yeah, man. Monster
I don't-
movies.
For some reason, I do not have the budget, but the box office was 2.2 million, so it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, I freaking loved it.
The monsters are giant ants between 8 feet and 12 feet. I couldn't find a death count, but I counted myself 7.
Oh, okay.
And we have a new category, the Wilhelm count.
The what?
There is a sound effect known as the Wilhelm scream,
Oh, gosh.
a stock sound effect that has been used in a number of films and TV series, according to Wikipedia, beginning in 1951 with the film Distant Drums. The scream is usually used when someone is shot, falls from a great height, or is thrown from an explosion. The sound is named after Private Wilhelm, a character in The Charge at Feather River, a 1953 Western in which the character gets shot in the thigh with an arrow. This was its first use following its inclusion in the Warner Brothers stock sound library, although The Charge at Feather River is believed to have been the third film to use the effect. The scream is believed to be voiced by actor Sheb Woolley. That is all from Wikipedia. And it sounds a little bit like this. Ah! I will insert the actual scream in post-production. But I think I did a
Oh.
reasonable.
No, that was so good. You have to leave your screen. You should use your
No,
scream every single time.
Well, I'll leave mine in, but I will also insert the original so you can compare.
Okay, yeah,
But
you
then
have
it became, like, years later, I think starting in the 70s, it became a thing, sort of an in-joke for sound designers to use the Wilhelm scream. And it appears in, like, Star Wars, Indiana Jones movies, things like
Okay.
even as recently as The Force Awakens, they used the Wilhelm scream. So this movie has a Wilhelm count of 3,
Ooh.
but there was one scene where it seemed like I heard it twice. And there's another scene that seems to have half a Wilhelm in it. So it may just be very similar. And I'm going to give the movie a racism factor of 1 in that once again it's in a world where there are nothing but white people.
Yeah, I just want to say back for the noise thing, this whole movie, I feel like headphone users beware.
Okay.
Cause oh man, this movie is full of just like shrill, awful
Oh,
noises.
have the trilling ants
Oh
make
gosh.
the rubbing. Oh, I wrote down the technical term. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get to. Oh, here it is. Stridulation, which is the act of producing sound by rubbing together certain body parts.
Ay, ay, ay.
It's what crickets do. But
It's what
apparently,
crickets do.
they rub their legs together. But
Yeah, yeah.
apparently ants do it as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
At least these
yeah.
do. So this is, I would say this movie is kind of a police procedural of a horror movie.
Okay.
We get an interesting little splash of color at the beginning when the
Mm-hmm.
title comes up. Title comes up in red and blue outline, and that has become, or red outlined by blue. That is because the movie was going to be in 3D, and the old 3D effect,
Wow.
the old 3D effect would be to do this sort of split of red and blue over top of black and white, and you'd wear red and blue glasses that would separate those into your different eyes and produce the illusion of a three-dimensional image. Partway through production, they changed their mind, but there are still some shots that are clearly set up to be 3D shots, in that there's things coming right at the camera.
Ooh, I wonder why they changed their mind, do you know?
It might have been a budget thing.
Yeah.
It was
Man, I
either
think
it
this
was
would have been
either
a good 3D movie.
it was either time or money.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it always?
So, New Mexico State Police.
Yes.
There's a state police plane and a car investigating a report, and the pilot spots a kid wandering
Mm-hmm.
around in shock. And we get these two stout-hearted men, Sergeant Ben Peterson and Trooper Ed Blackburn, who find the kid, and I think the
And
plane.
are already very sweaty when the movie begins.
Well, they're in the desert.
They are in the desert. It is apparent. Everyone looks sticky.
I think the plane spots the car and trailer up ahead, so they go
Mhm.
check it out, and there is a big hole in the trailer. There's money still there, it has not been taken, and there's blood that is 10 to 12 hours old, and a gun,
But he
and
smells.
a cloth, sugar cubes, a footprint, and there is a piece. At first, I thought it was a broken bowl. It's a piece of her
The
doll's
baby doll.
yeah,
Yeah.
little girl's doll head, which the one of the policemen kindly puts back into place.
Such a gentleman.
Yes. But they see this odd footprint and they call it in, and the medics come out, and the CSI or whatever does a plaster cast of the print. The medic is with the girl, and we hear the weird sound for the first time.
Yes.
The little girl reacts, but she doesn't say anything. She's been struck mute by whatever trauma she has endured.
Yeah, she definitely recognizes the noise, though.
And they decide to let's go check the general store, see if he saw anything. And they get there, and it is also wrecked. And it seems to them that the wall has been pulled out from the outside.
Yes,
They
which was exactly like the trailer.
Yeah, and they find more sugar.
And they say also that the man looks like he's been drug around and like thrown, which was kind of like a weird detail for them.
When they find him in the basement?
Yeah, when they find him, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And oddly, I found it odd that radio is not tuned to the exposition station. There is a guy talking on the radio giving us information that has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, he's talking about a virus or something, right?
But it's something that's clearly been recorded just for use in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just some stock music or something. But normally in this situation, the news is giving you information that relates to the film. And this is not, which I liked. It made it more realistic.
Yeah.
But I was listening more closely than I needed to, thinking that we're getting
Yeah, same.
We did not need to know about this virus. But they find Gramps in the basement, dragged and thrown around, as you say. And Sugar, oh, honey, is found to the crime again. And then once again, no money is taken.
Yeah, but this time when they find Sugar, there's like a bunch of normal, like sized ants
Yes, regular
running around this Sugar.
foreshadowing.
Dun dun dun.
So Ben goes to HQ and Ed stays. He gets killed.
Yes.
And I think that is our first Wilhelm. But he gets killed. We hear the gunshot and then we hear him scream. We haven't seen the creatures yet.
Right. And in between the gunshot and his scream, there is this tiny, very, very quick sound. It's like maybe 2 seconds long. And it's like a scurrying sound. Like it's very like a critter sound effect,
Right.
like a buggy kind of sound effect.
Yeah. I think the movie make this a mystery as if we have not all seen the poster on our way in. The movie is trying to do this police procedural where we slowly learn what's going on, but because of the movie poster and previews and things, I'm sure we all already know what.
Yeah,
So
but I think they did a good job. I liked it. I really liked the mysterious, like, oh, when are we gonna get to see them?
I would just be curious what the effect would be if you started this movie with no idea. So we cut to the police. They know that Ed is dead, and they are not having any patience with Ben's grief. Like, Ben says, your partner died. Everybody dies. Quit your moping. And they speculate about, was it a homicidal maniac? But no, they didn't get any reports of anyone escaping. And it doesn't.
Right, and I liked this conversation when they're like talking about like, is it a homicidal maniac? He's like, it has to be. There was only sugar taken. Like, it's just so funny. It made me laugh.
But we find out that Mr. Ellison, one of the two parents of the young girl who are presumed to be dead, was an FBI agent. And Robert Graham from the FBI shows up. Apparently only because the guy was an FBI agent. And this is James Arness from Gunsmoke, brother to Peter Graves, who you may have heard of. Or not.
I don't know. I don't.
Peter Graves he was in Mission Impossible. He was in Airplane. He was in a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay. Then I probably do know who that is.
Never in anything with James Arness. Apparently, he once directed an episode of Gunsmoke, but they never appeared on screen together. I think I may have known this before, but as I watched this, I realized his voice is very similar to Peter Graves. And they talk over evidence. Doc comes in and goes over 5 ways Gramps could have died, including enough formic acid to kill 20 men. We cut to the airport where we are meeting Dr. S. Medford from the Department of Agriculture. And this is not the same doctor from the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, but it may as well be.
Yeah, I feel like this guy's a little bit more loony, I feel like openly. Like he's just very like himself.
He's a little befuddled, a little absent-minded. He can't put goggles on properly. He doesn't know how goggles work.
Yeah, but we'll also just say enter the babe of this monster movie. Ow!
Yes, the other you were impressed with her, huh?
Oh my word. She's the babiest of babes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
His daughter, who is also Dr. Medford, who a couple times he refers to her as Dr. Medford, as if to just remind everybody else. They're to be extra professional because she's his daughter, he's going to be extra professional. I don't know. The guys gawk at her legs as she's getting out of the plane. And here I want to say that the characters are sexist, but I don't think the movie is. In that the movie itself does not treat her as anything less than a competent professional who should be there.
Yeah, anytime that someone does treat her like, I think there's one line at some point where he's like, no woman should be blah, blah, blah. And she just like really puts him in her place and is like, well, I can't give you a brain right now, so you're going to have to listen to me. But after that,
amazing. After that, they don't question it again. So
Yeah, yeah. I also want to say, in this moment where they're like staring at her legs, and he says the guy says the line. It's something like, if she's the kind of doctor who takes care of sick people, I'm gonna have a fever or something like that.
yeah,
And I think that it's like, yes, it could be taken as like a sexist thing. I do see, but I also feel like it's okay to admire, to admire a pretty woman. And like, I thought, I guess I understand what you're saying about like maybe the characters being sexist, but the movie not being. I felt
yeah,
like there were like it always balanced out. Like if there was something that was a little sexist, then there was something that kind of made up for it too.
right. Well, it's just that he objectifies her immediately, and
Yeah.
all he's seen is her legs so far.
Wow.
Um,
Bam, bam, bow.
but the doctor wants to get straight to work. Doesn't want to go to the hotel or anything. Let's get into overdrive. They go to an office. I think they're looking at a map, and he wants to know what area was the atomic bomb exploded. And they're like, yeah, the same general area as what's going on. And in 1945, 9 years ago, and he speculates that that's enough time to genetically. It says genetically certainly possible. 9 years is enough time, but he won't talk until he's certain.
Right.
And then the doctor examines the girl, the mute girl, and makes her smell some acid.
The
And then
formic acid.
she reacts and starts screaming, "Them, them!"
Yes, I love this. I was like, what a perfect name for the
Yeah,
movie. Like, just based on this scene alone, like, yes, that's what the name is going to be. I also want to say that there were a lot of like one-liners in this movie that made me laugh, and one of them was in this like scene right before the them scene when he says, "No need to play footsies with us." Like, to the doctor, he's like basically saying like, "Don't dick us around," but he's
right,
like, "No need to play footsie with us." So I was like, bah, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna say that.
right.
No need to
So,
play footsie with me.
so they want to go visit the desert, and the doctor tells them it's later than you think. And out in the desert, the doctor is too goofy to wear goggles properly.
Yes,
We
hilarious.
want to know if there's any report of a mound or a cone. Yeah, even after he guys like, "Hey, you got to put those goggles on." It's very windy out there, so they have these goggles. And then he puts them on, but they're still crooked, and the cop just reaches out and adjusts them for him.
Yeah, it was really funny.
But they're asked about it: is there a mound or a cone? And it's speculating about something turning carnivorous if it runs out of food. And
Hmm.
then I think it's James Arness calls her Miss, I'm sorry, Doctor, and she says, "If Doctor bothers you, why don't you call me Pat?" Which is just far too kind of her.
It is. It really is.
She should have said, "It is Doctor fucking Medford, you country bumpkin, you you desert bumpkin."
Yeah,
And
she really should have.
this is the beginning of the most tepid romance that we have seen so far.
Yes,
There's
seriously.
no ballad, no opera, no kiss, no anything. It seems like they've set her up to be a love interest and then don't do anything with it.
Yeah, because she's a badass. She's a bad bitch. She's too badass to have a love interest. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Lady scientists in these movies that are do kind of seem to be there to be a love interest, but they're also there to
Mm-hmm.
give important information and to do stuff rather than just be somebody's girlfriend hanging around like some Japanese ladies I could mention. So Emiko.
Yeah,
So,
looking at you, Emiko.
but yeah, this romance goes nowhere. There's just like a scene near the end where she's like, "Be careful," but she's about to go do the same dangerous things.
Yeah, Pat
So,
is giving me serious dominatrix vibes.
well, she is not a dominatrix. She is a myrmecologist.
Yes. Oh, which like reminds me of the next like one liner in this movie that made me kind of laugh. She says she's telling the guy that her dad is like the best myrmecologist there ever was, and he's like, "Why don't we all talk in English?" God damn it. My God damn it.
Just a dum-dum.
Yeah.
But they measure some more. They measure some more prints that are 12 centimeters, leading him to speculate that the thing that left these prints is over 8 feet long.
Hmm. And
And
then isn't this also where we find out that there are like 8 people missing?
are there 8 people missing?
I think so.
Missed that. But he says, if I'm right, none of us dare reveal it. It would cause a nationwide panic.
Hmm.
Pat hears more prints, finds more prints, and then we hear the sound. 28 minutes, 14 seconds. We see them. Oh no.
We see them.
Oh no, I wrote, oh no, Pat. Pat falls down, but she gets back up again because you're never going to keep her down.
Never gonna keep her
The
down.
doctor yells, get the antennae. Or is it the antennae? Yeah, get the antennae. Get the other antenna. When there's two, it's antennae. When it's one, it's antenna.
Science.
Some sharpshooting happens here. One of the guys shoots the antenna off with his pistol and then shoots off the other one and then unloads with a submachine gun.
Just
I
in case.
wrote, cops have those? I mean, they did apparently like in Prohibition times, but apparently
Well,
state police have them just in
yeah,
case.
in 1954. It was a weird time.
So the doctor says something about mutations caused by lingering radiation, some about odor
Yeah.
from formic acid. And he explains how they just use their mandibles for grabbing, but their stinger is what kills.
Yeah, seeing the ant 100% freaked me out, and would 100% freak me out in the 1950s.
Yeah. Now this is a different. So we've had stop motion and we've had guys in suits, but now we have just sort of a robot animatronic ant,
like a puppet type.
Yeah. Apparently, in one of the later scenes, side of the ant is missing, and you can see the mechanism. But then for the DVD, they obscured it, fixed it.
Ah, dang. Oh, okay. So I have to tell you this story about like why ants freak me out so bad and why this movie is probably like scary to me. So when I was like maybe 3, I was eating a piece of watermelon on my front porch, and I was just kind of zoned out and like looking off into the distance and just eating this watermelon, just happy as could be. And all the juice was like running down like my arms and like my belly, and eventually like I could feel it running down my legs. So I'm standing there like in my front yard. I've like walked all the way down the porch and I feel like watermelon juice running down my legs. And I look down and there's ants running up my legs. So I just start screaming. So anyway, my mom runs outside and the ants don't actually start biting me until she starts like brushing them, like trying to get them off of me. But there's so many on me because I've just been standing in this ant bed eating this piece of watermelon, just completely unaware. And so she starts brushing them off and they start stinging me. So then I really start screaming. So she like runs me to the bathroom and turns on the cold water to like, get the rest of the ants off of me. But ever since then, I have had this horrible reoccurring dream that all of that like still happens. But when my mom goes to turn on the water, only ants pour out of the like faucet.
Oh
Like it's
no.
no water, it's just more
So-
ants. And I have had that dream for so long. Ants really creep me out anyway, so this movie really got me. This movie really got me.
Well, Honeybee, I think this might be a good time to take a break and let you recover.
Yeah.
So after these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, and we're back.
So
Feeling a little more relaxed.
ants in the real world make up between 15 and 20% of the terrestrial biomass.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, a lot of ants, a lot of different species, a lot of different sizes and shapes. They fight with each other. As the doctor tells us later, they're the only things apart from humans that go to war.
Wow, that's crazy.
We've heard the sound, and the younger doctor Dr. Pat tells us that stridulation is what it's called. And they talk about how they communicate with each other. And we hear some more stridulation. And then the older doctor, tells us about we might be seeing a biblical prophecy come to life. There is no such biblical prophecy. These movies are always making this shit up. I don't know why they do it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I tried to look up this quote. I can't even remember. I didn't even write it down. But when I looked it up, all I could find was references to them. It's not in the Bible.
Dang.
But something about the beasts taking over or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like
that
you see it all the time, like bugs
it's like
crawling
that,
out of people's faces and shit.
the biblical quote in Pulp Fiction. That's not real either.
Ah!
And that one, they actually tells you what chapter and verse it is, and it's not.
Yeah.
It is. So then we're in a helicopter with General O'Brien. They've called in the army. And we get a lesson in proper radio procedure. I believe she's in one helicopter and he's in the other.
Yes, I love this scene.
You gotta say, you can't just call out her name.
He's like, I already said it.
Yeah, he's like, we're this designation and they're that designation. You don't just say, hey daughter, are you there?
Yeah, I love the doctors, both of them.
I wrote, how is Pat not already someone's mom? I think that's based on I think I wrote that based on the clothes that she is wearing, because she's wearing a real 50s mom outfit.
Yeah,
but
if Pat was already a mom, then this would be the moment when I know I'd make a really great stepdad.
They spot an ant chewing on a rib cage, and they find missing person. So I guess this does raise the death count a bit, because it does seem like there's more than just 2 bodies.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure for some reason I have 8 people written down, like disappearance of 8 people. I'm not sure like where exactly I heard that in the movie.
Probably in that first meeting. And we have another meeting. There's so many meetings in these movies.
All of the meetings.
Secrecy time. The doctor is in charge, and this is where he calls Pat doctor, and explain how the hottest part of the day is the best time to attack them because they will be down in the nest.
Mm-hmm.
And we see he brings out an ant map, sort of a cutaway of a.
Yeah.
And desert ants go 30 feet deep. Unlike other movie scientists, he is all about killing the creatures. He is not interested in preserving them for science's sake or to study them. He is 100% on board with wiping this shit out.
Yeah, he is. I think it's just because he knows how quickly that they could take over.
Yeah, I think because he knows so much about ants, he knows they're
not. Yeah. He's like, this is nothing to fuck with.
Yeah.
Get rid of it now.
Fuck around and find out. They're going to, they want to first shoot some bazookas at the anthill. They finally find a big anthill. Going to shoot bazookas at it first and then throw cyanide gas down. I don't remember what the initial shots are for. But the general and the state police sergeant take turns firing the bazooka.
Yeah.
It's just so I don't know why this state policeman is doing this to begin with, but clearly
it's a little it's awkward. It's a little awkward scene, the two of them.
They've decided that they've had a conversation off camera about who's going to do it, and they agree, let's take turns.
Ladies, you're both pretty. Yeah. You can both shoot the gun.
So then they go up with a cyanide.
Yeah.
They go up to the edge of the thing with cyanide grenades, and a survivor appears, and they just throw the grenades down at it. And here, then they need to go down to make sure they've got them all. And this, I wrote, Robert acts sexist, Pat not having it.
Yes. Yeah, this is where he says, this is no place for you or any other woman. And this is where she says, listen here, you sexy piece of shit. I am woman. Hear me roar. I don't have time for this shit. We gotta go.
Sexy piece of shit or sexist piece of shit?
Yeah, well, I just because I only say sexy piece of shit because of the awkward hint that the movie's giving you of that they are somewhat attracted to each other, question mark. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the only reason why I say that maybe she's look, I think you're pretty too, but I don't have time to educate you right now, so you're gonna have to shut the hell up and let me go.
If they had some idea of creating a triangle between her and the sergeant and the FBI guy, they didn't bother exploring that at all. Sergeant goes
Not
off
your
with
usual triangle.
Sergeant just hangs out with the general instead. So, an FBI agent, a state police sergeant, and a Department of Agriculture myrmecologist and his daughter,
Walk
myrmecologist,
into a bar.
take take flamethrowers into the tunnels.
Brilliant.
They find a sealed
So smart.
chamber of ants and they light them up. And then there's more dead ants in the Queen's chamber. Pat takes pictures and then says, burn it all, which was pretty badass, I thought. But there's no larvae. They hatch directly from eggs and part of the mutation, apparently. And they believe that 2 queens are now on their wedding flight. So this is not good. How far could they fly? My answer to that was nowhere. Not possible for an insect to get that big and live, let alone fly. But we will play along for the sake of the movie.
Of course.
Insects just cannot get too big because they have an exoskeleton. This is a limit to how large they can get. That's just life.
It's just science.
But then there's another meeting where they talk about panic and a film presentation that the doctor just threw together out of some footage he had laying around, I guess.
Yeah.
And if we don't kill them, we will become extinct.
Yes.
And reporters? Okay. So they've set up a headquarters. And reporters have noticed that there's something going on, but they can't get any answers. And the people, even the people there, they're monitoring reports and sending them upstairs, but they don't even seem to know what's going on. But now this FBI guy and this state policeman head a nationwide task force on giant ants.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still getting paid? I don't know what's happening. I don't know if they've been transferred.
I'm not sure either, but I did see also there was in this scene with the reporters, there is a newspaper, and I kind of zoomed in and looked, and it was like news to look out for, and it was like theft of sugar.
Good. Yeah, I did not see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Really funny.
But Bob and Pat go to Brownsville to investigate a report, and this is where we see Fess Parker. This scene got him the Davy Crockett job. He is a pilot who saw flying saucers that look like ants, which is a really odd way to interpret what he saw. He didn't say flying ants, and I know that ants fly because I just should know that as a person. I saw flying saucers that happen to look like ants.
Well, maybe like in his mind, he was like, well, they can't be ants because ants don't get that big. So they have to be aliens inside of big ant-shaped. Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't see a flying saucer. You saw an ant-shaped flying thing. But some people just at this time would use the term flying saucer when they meant UFO. Rather than I specifically saw a saucer object. Flying saucer might be a generic term they use when they really meant UFO. But anyway, it struck me as a weird way to describe it. But he's like, don't know what else to call them. They scared the pants off of me. Excuse me, ma'am. He seemed to think by talking about losing his pants, he was being offensive to the lady in the room. And he's glad that they say they believe him, and he's like, oh, thank goodness somebody finally believing me. Will you get me out of here? And the answer is no.
Nope, sorry, I can't.
So wrong. They act like they're going to, but then they go outside and they say, like, keep that guy locked up. Rather than saying, look, this is a matter of national security. We're going to swear you to secrecy. You're a pilot. You were probably in the war. You understand these things. Sign this non-disclosure agreement and raise your right hand. under penalty of, death or whatever. No, they're just like, keep that guy locked up. And the doctor's like, well, I was just about to let him go because
Yeah.
not, even though he said a weird thing, he's clearly not crazy. I was going to let him go. Very wrong. Very, very wrong.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Then we see some more map work and inform the Mexican authorities and a phone call. I don't know who a phone call about a nest hatched aboard a ship at sea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And here's where we get another Wilhelm, possibly two. I think this is two in the same scene. Meeting Milwaukee rescued two from Viking. Oh, okay. So the Milwaukee is a ship that rescued two from another ship called the Viking, and the Viking sank. How did they get on board? We speculate. Well, it was in port, and the hatch was open, and the queen could have flown in there while it was open, but they still want to keep things secret. But they're like, the entire crew of that ship knows about it now, and they're like, we're just going to keep them at sea until the crisis is over. I hope they have enough supplies.
Yeah.
Hope they don't run out of food on that ship. And they put little flags on the map indicating dead males. And we go to, so we're still in the police procedural mode, even though we now know what's going on, because they go to investigate the theft of 40 tons of sugar. The watchman at the railroad has been taken into custody because they think he was in on this sugar heist. He's got
what the hell?
Yeah. So we still go through this whole procedure of questioning this guy when it's very clear what has happened. We still spend a lot of time on this sugar investigation.
Yeah, agreed.
And there is a body found with an arm torn off, a Mr. Thomas Lodge, who had two children with him that are now missing. And we talk with this guy's widow, and he sounds like he was a really good father.
Yeah.
He was very busy, but he always made time on Saturday. He had to work on the weekends because he was working so hard to provide for the family. But he made time to take the boys out to spend some quality time together on Saturday mornings, and now they're missing. Yeah, he's working
Pop.
two jobs, and I just found that to be really sad.
It was very sad. I think this woman was like she deserved the acting award of this movie.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she really sold it. She was very sad. When she was listening for the news on the radio and stuff, I believed her.
Yeah. Sutton and Ryan do some map work. They go to question the drunks in the jail, and there's a woman in there too who was arrested for speeding, and she claims she was visiting a sick friend, but she doesn't want to mention any names because I'm married.
A little suspicious.
So clearly it was not. They're just this random woman who's, out tomcat.
This random painted Jezebel.
Yeah. I just thought that was a weird little character to throw in. And the third,
we love to see it.
The first two drunks don't seem to know anything, but the third drunk is in the alcoholic ward. Been in there for 5 months. I don't know what they're talking to him now, or maybe he first came in 5 months ago. Comes in and out. This is Jensen Howland, and he talks about ants in the river, and they go to investigate the concrete river that is dried up. I think this might be the same sort of concrete dry river we see in Greece and many other movies. It's certainly a similar situation.
Yeah.
I don't know where Grease was filmed.
I have no
but they find the kids' toy airplane, call the mom and confirm that it was theirs, and they find the tire marks, and an ant print. Yeah, and maybe the kids are in the tunnel.
Yes.
So there's these tunnels, these sort of drainage dried up river, and we're told that there's 700 miles of tunnels. I don't know where they go, but I know there's 700 miles of them under the city. And we go to a press conference where martial law is declared, and they finally tell the general public about the giant ants.
Yeah, great time to do that.
Public seems to accept this. The people were, in general, much more trusting of the government back then. They accept that we must be confined to our homes because of giant ants.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and the army rolls in, and Bob and Ben are now dressed like soldiers because they're on detached duty to whoever needs them at any particular moment. So they're dressed like soldiers now. Mrs. Lodge comes in, and some guy tries to stop her, but they're like, "No, no, no, she's the mother. It's okay." But they don't want to risk a fire in the tunnels till they know about the new queens. They got to make sure the queens are still there, or there aren't any more queens before they burn everything up. Yeah, this one guy's like, "We don't have kids. What are you talking about? They've got a whole city to protect. We can't worry about these 2 kids. We got to go in there and tear shit up." And they're like, "All right, go tell their mother over there."
Yeah. Go ahead. Go look her
He's
in the
like,
fucking face and
"Oh."
tell her that.
Yeah, and when he actually looks at her, he's like, "Oh, yeah, you just made it real."
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Pat is now dressed like a soldier, also, and
Meow.
this is where we get our like one tender moment where she says, "Watch yourself, Bob." Even though it's a romance for the ages. She's about to go do the same dangerous thing, but he doesn't say, "You watch yourself too," or anything like that.
Yeah, well.
But nobody, no, by this point, nobody questions the idea that Pat is going to go into those tunnels as well. She's just going to do it.
Get a bitch.
These tunnels are big enough they can just drive jeeps into them, and they're
Mhm.
reporting in. This is so and so at this tunnel. Nothing to report, and goes in with a flamethrower. They talk about there was construction here that's down, but if the lights are still hooked up, turn them on. And we find out that the kids' names are Mike and Jerry because Bob is calling them Mike and Jerry. They're alive, but there's ants, and
Yay!
I smell some brood odor. And one of the kids is acting, and the
Yeah.
other is not.
The other kid has no fucks to give.
We're just gonna pretend that he is in a state of shock, and that's the choice he went with. But I think the real choice was, I don't know how to act, so I'll just stand here.
Yeah, and it was the older kid too. The older kid who the younger kid was like killing it. He was doing a great job.
He
And
was.
the older kid was just like, I'm standing here and I'm mad because I didn't get nuggets before this.
So he sets the ants. Bob gets down there where the kids are, sets the ants on fire, and I wrote down, "I've heard of fire ants, but this is ridiculous."
Ah, you would.
But he gets the kids to safety, and then he gets Wilhelmed. Ah! Help comes with guns, but it's too late.
No.
And Ben and Bob have a little moment, and Bob says something incomprehensible. There's lots of shooting. Stop shooting.
Pew, pew,
And the
pew.
doctor, I think, says, "Stop shooting before you collapse the tunnel. No gas. Don't use the gas yet. Got to find the egg chamber." And then Maddox gets Wilhelmed, which
Is
may
this
be
the half of one?
I think so. No. Bob almost gets it and lets out sort of a half Wilhelm, but then manages to get away from the ant. And they find some winged ants in there. Technically, they're princesses because they haven't gone off to be queens yet.
Queens yet, yeah.
Pat and Bob share a look, and they talk about the 1545. But what about all the other bomb tests we've done since then? What are gonna be the results of those? If these ants are a result of that bomb test, shouldn't there be other things? So this movie is unlike the Americanized Godzilla that we discussed previously. This movie's not shying away from atomic bombs caused this.
Uh-huh.
In Godzilla King of Monsters, they removed those references, but the same year, this American-made movie is all over it. And the doctor says, when man entered the atomic age, he opened a door into a new world. What we'll eventually find in that world, nobody can predict.
Ooh.
That is, I guess they've kind of skipped over. They killed all the ants. They killed the winged. They killed the winged queens and burned up everything or collapsed it or whatever. And then that's how they wrap up the movie with that quote. So there we go.
Wow.
Whoa. So you really liked it?
I did. I really liked this movie. I thought it was very creepy. Definitely, I guess the thing about monster movies so far that we've watched, like there was King Kong, which is like actually a thing, sort of, but I guess this one just kind of gives you a little bit more sense of horror in the sense of like it's, I don't know, it's an ant. It's just creepy.
Okay. Well, I mean, you have your personal reason for
Yeah.
having issues.
Yeah. When I was a baby bee, ants attacked me violently, and
Didn't realize that I needed to give you a trigger warning before. Guys.
no, it was really good. I did like this one. I think man, it's hard to say. Honestly, I think The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is still my favorite so far, but this is like definitely a close second. I did really enjoy it. I did.
Me too. It's a pretty highly regarded movie for the period.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It was good. I really liked the doctors. They were my fave.
Well, thank you for joining us. Please do message us at monstermoviefuntimego@gmail.com. Do all the things that you do, the liking and subscribing and reviewing and rating, and tell all your friends. We're trying to slowly grow this show, and it is slowly growing. Let's keep it up.
Yeah, thank you guys. We love you so much. Thank you.
And next time we will be watching Godzilla Raids Again from 1955, which
Woo!
is available on HBO Max.
Yes, another Godzilla.
So once again, we will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Monster movie fun time go.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MNFTG.